Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Georgia Khalil, and this summer I worked with academic technologies to study the development of congenital heart defects. So during my placement, as I just said, I worked with the Faculty of Medicine and Dentistry's academic technologies to design an educational resource. While planning to design, we used methods like coming up with how might we questions. So this helped me think of a wide variety of issues to research and find out what the best form of design would be to fit the issue. So my original problem was how might we improve how health science students learn embryology? And rather than health science students, I was more interested in educating mothers and partners of pregnancy. So I narrowed it down to how might we help parents in rural communities on the embryology of heart development when they have been diagnosed with a baby with CHD before birth. So a little background on embryology. It is the study of fetal and embryo development while in utero. This topic is very important because increasing the education and knowledge on development could allow parents to maximize their health and take precautions during pregnancy to better the health of the fetus. After taking Bio 30 this past year in high school, the pregnancy and birth units were the two that I found most interesting, and so that made me very happy to discover that embryology was one of the possible topics that I could research this summer. I chose this issue because in the future I would like to pursue the career of an obstetrician, and this image just shows the development of an embryo developing into a fetus over the 38 weeks of pregnancy. And more specifically, congenital heart defects. Because embryology is such a broad issue, I narrowed it down to just congenital heart defects. And I made this decision with the help of my supervisor and the rest of the design team, but also because of a personal connection I have. One of my close family friends adopted a baby 3 years ago who had 2 heart defects, and I thought it would be interesting to design a resource that would be helpful to someone that I know personally. So congenital heart defects are caused when some parts of the heart develop abnormally or are absent from the heart. They can interrupt blood flow, which lowers the functionality of the heart, and they range in severity. Some can be very small and resolve themselves over time, but some require surgery. And this diagram shows an atrial septal defect. So this means the septum, which is the wall between the right and left atrium, is underdeveloped, leaving a hole right here. So taking a design approach, my original how might we question was how might we educate the mothers of children born with congenital disorders, how it happens, when it happens, and why it happens, and what would success look like. So for me, success would look like parents would completely understand the idea of congenital defects and why they occur, as well as expectant mothers and partners would better their own health for the health of the fetus. My strategy was to provide understandable information and knowledge on CHD who are expecting a child with one. My tactic was to create an easily accessible website. So I narrowed down my how might we question, and I wanted to also include partners in the pregnancy, so I extended that out and then specified it towards parents in rural communities who may not have a short drive away from a specialized hospital to receive the information. And I chose to do this partially because I'm from a very small town and can understand what the experience would be like. So I created a working prototype in Figma, which is just an online collaborative prototyping tool. And this allowed me to gain lots of website design experience and learn how to design for specific parts of our public. And as mentioned before, my target audience is parents living in rural communities who are expecting a child that has been diagnosed with CHD. And I found this target audience very relevant in my case because I'm from a small town and understand how accessibility to certain services could be limited compared to living in a big city. So my earliest version of the prototype was just a simple layout in Google Draw. So I have the title. I would have put the information on the left side and then a picture on the right side. And here's my current prototype in Figma. This is just screenshots of it. So this is the home page. The top bar gives you access to the support page and the types page. And if you click on the what is CHD button, it takes you to this description. So this page just shows a simple diagram of what a normal heart looks like, and then it explains what congenital heart defects are. And then if you click on the types bar, it takes you to this page, which is scrollable and has images, then buttons, which lead you to the 5 congenital defects that I covered in my website. So they are atrial septal defect, atrial ventricular septal defect, pulmonary atresia, ventricular septal defect, and tricuspid atresia. So for an example, if I click on the atrial septal defect, it takes you to here, which just gives a description of what it is and then a diagram. And then if you scroll down, it explains why it happens. And then the support page. On here, I just described the Heart Institute at the U of A, where families in our general area would go for help. And if the defect is severe enough, the surgery would take place here. Future directions for my project. If I have more than 6 weeks with the design team, I would hope to publish an actual website and also feature other aspects on the support page, like support groups for the parents or camps for the children with CHD, and possibly some information on someone or somewhere parents can contact to get more help understanding congenital heart defects. Another thing, I would like to make my own images rather than just using pre-made images. So design my own diagrams. And with those, I would actually like to go more in depth on the development of each defect and include more than just the 5 defects that I covered. My reflection, completing my project taught me how to design resources in a way that will be most effective for certain groups of our population. I expanded my skills in technology by learning how to design a website, and I got the chance to brainstorm and chat with many wonderful people on the design team. And I've also found a newfound respect for all designers, because we see and we use things every day, but we never think about how many hours of design has actually gone into everything. And then the rest of the HYRS program was very, very impactful on my life. I got once-in-a-lifetime opportunities to speak to students, researchers, and doctors. I received some helpful tips on public speaking, even if it was only virtually. And I learned how to apply for scholarships, which will be very useful going into the 12th grade this year. I just enjoyed meeting all the new people, all the students, and I thoroughly enjoyed all the social and formal sessions that I was able to partake in. Acknowledgments, I'd like to thank Judea, Dr. Eitzen, my supervisor Patrick, and the design team, Trina, Cody, April, Siobhan, my references who got me into the program, Megan Blaschuk, Miss McKenzie, and Mr. Kanwar, all of our guest speakers that we got to listen to throughout the program, and all of the HYRS volunteers and students. Here are my citations, and then any questions.
Thank you, Georgia, for that presentation. I love all of these presentations. I get excited when I hear them. Were there any questions for any of the 4 speakers?